Hi everyone, this is Dan, and this is The Boys Omnibus Volume 1 by Dynamite Comics, written by Garth Ennis and drawn by Darick Robertson. I did say this a while back that I was going to kind of go over some more stuff that's relevant to right now. So The Boys is a pretty popular show on Amazon Prime. I actually haven't watched it, mainly because I kind of wanted to read the comic first and compare the two. I don't know necessarily if I want to watch it at this point because, well, spoiler alert, this isn't a recommend. I do not like this book, just straight up, I'll be honest with you. And I'll explain why I don't like it for the most part. But I think I will watch some of the... It's easier to watch stuff than it is to read stuff, so I think I will watch some Amazon Prime episodes to see if there's a difference between the two. But I finished Omnibus Volume 1, and being completely honest, I have zero desire to continue this series. Garth Ennis' writing and his style is 100% not for me. This is actually the first time I've read Garth Ennis, and immediately I know I don't like his style and I don't like his books. Just straight up not for me. It could be for you, though. I will say this, The Boys, if you dislike superhero comics, and in general comic books, and in general maybe the whole world, and probably your life, The Boys is probably for you. It's a really good book for people who like sort of postmodern, edgy, asshole kind of, I guess, dark and dirty humor to a degree. I will say this book does suffer massively from decompression. The history of this book is actually very interesting. The first 6 issues of The Boys, and I can't flip through the whole book because there's a lot of sex and nudity and honestly really disgusting shit in this book that will get me in trouble on YouTube if someone marks it. But what I will say is the first 6 issues of this book were actually published by Wildstorm, which was an imprint of DC. So DC actually started The Boys by Garth Ennis. And what's hilarious when you read about the history of The Boys, Garth Ennis actually wanted to use the characters, the DC characters, Superman, Wonder Woman, Batman, the Teen Titans, etc., right? And The Boys would come in and kind of be... the premise of this whole story is that, you know, in a world where superhumans are all over the place, or superheroes are all over the place, The Boys are kind of a CIA-backed group of individuals that go and keep superheroes that step out of line in their place, right? What's funny about The Boys is this is very much a product of its time. It was written and created in 2006. I think the series itself ended in 2014, and it very much is a reflection of, in particular, Garth Ennis and Darick Robertson being kind of a Bay Area dude, an extremely global, liberal kind of point of view of the world and of both superheroes and, you know, in general America. A lot of America bashing in this book, which if you're used to 2080 and British writers, it's not that big of a deal. If it's not your thing, then I would highly recommend avoiding this book. It's after a while it gets really annoying and almost distracting from what the story that Garth Ennis is trying to tell, well, when he stays on track, which is kind of to my point. This book is very, especially after issue 6, in the first 6 issues, I feel like it was actually, you know, it still is decompressed, but at least there was some editorial, like, guidance to kind of drive the storytelling and the narrative of The Boys pretty well. The first 6 issues are actually pretty good, but this, by the way, this contains issues 1 through 14, and a couple other side stuff, and also an example of a script. Ironically enough, Garth Ennis works in full script, and having read his full script, I don't know. Honestly, I wish people would not show this making of, because it honestly makes me realize that, you know, a lot of these modern writers are not as godly as people make them out to be. Especially if you can compare them to, like, if you've ever seen a script from Frank Miller or one of the classic greats, you know, Garth Ennis is, I don't find him to be very impressive, personally. But this book, again, the first 6 issues kind of hold it together. And there is a pretty good narrative, and if you're into dark humor, it is pretty funny. The Dynamite issues, so issues 7 and on, are a fucking mess in this book. They're unbelievably slow, they're extremely decompressed, and Garth Ennis just goes on rants in a lot of the panels. It's really annoying. And more importantly, here, let me show you my problem with The Boys. So I'm going to go right here. This is Get Some. This is the beginning of the Dynamite issues, right? And what I want to show you right here is I'm not even going to go through all of it. Just luckily, these issues don't have something that'll get me in trouble on YouTube. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, you know, like... These are like flashbacks, talking, a lot of this. You're going to see a lot of this, talking, 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 talking. By the time something interesting finally happens, it literally occurs in one panel. Like, you literally don't see the action. You know, you get one panel, something happens, and then, oh, look at this, strong female character wins. And this kind of continues through most of the other issues in the back series, and it's at this point where, like, you kind of know, like, especially with modern writers, they tend to not yield their creative, you know, vision, right? Especially since I know this is written in full script. I have no reason to believe that this comic book is going to change in the next couple issues. And honestly, I don't find Garth Ennis' writing to be that amazing that I want to keep reading this. In fact, he has this annoying thing where he uses so much... he writes with so many phrases that are unique to either English or Scottish accents. The Frenchman, which is one of the characters in this, let me see if I can find you. Yeah, this guy right here, really annoying. It's written and spoken in most of his dialogues is French, with no translation. So basically, you have to know French to understand what the fuck he's saying all the time. Again, Garth Ennis really needs an editor to go whip his ass because his books are just, oh. If Preacher is like this, I have no desire to read Preacher either, I'm going to be honest. But anyway, that's probably my biggest gripe objectively, is it's very decompressed, needs an editor to really rein the whole thing in, and it gets really, really boring. And I mean, I'm going to be honest here, I don't really like any of the characters. Even the characters I'm supposed to be very sympathetic for, like Wee Huey and Anne, or Annie, Stargirl, I kind of just find them to be annoying and naive, right? I almost like... the purpose of what the writer and the artist are trying to do is make you kind of see the world through them, right? And then everyone else is kind of fucked up. By the way, there's really no good superheroes in this story. This really is... very much, if you hate superheroes, this is the book for you. But if you like them, I don't recommend them. And if you are a fan of modern comic books, I think this is probably the book for you. Definitely not the book for me. So, not a recommend. I don't know what I'm going to do with that book. Probably sell it. Oh yeah, art. Here is Garth Ennis. Did a little self-portrait of him. Ironically enough, I was watching a sci-fi interview of him. He's got a very, like, weathered face. It's kind of interesting. I don't think I captured it very well. This is kind of flat. I probably need to put more shading around the eyes, especially around the eyes. He's got very weathered eyes. But this is basically The Boys in a nutshell. It's Garth Ennis, fuck superheroes. There you go. You could save yourself some money right there. If you are, though, obviously I'm not a fan of the book, but if you are a fan of those types of books, then I would probably recommend The Boys for you. It's probably appropriate for people of that sort of interest. I will say this, I think for physical books, the price on that book, I think it was, well, at least for me, it was a little high. It was $25 or something like that was what I got it for. I honestly would probably recommend maybe checking out a digital issue first to see if you really like it, especially if you've never read Garth Ennis. If you're a Garth Ennis fan, then by all means, buy The Boys. It's probably his style or anything, at least from what I've seen doing research and reading this book. But it is definitely not for me. Anyhow, that's the video. Let me know what you think. If you like this video, please hit the thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Hit the bell for notifications. You got any comments about The Boys or this funny little penciled portrait I did? Leave it down below, and I will see you next time.